Hello, and welcome to this spooky winter video. Oh, I forgot to do the welcome. You might hear all kinds of sounds today. The wind is howling and shaking the house a little bit. So are the trains outside. It's like properly raining and storming. But you and I are inside the attic with books and fairy lights. And yeah, we have a space heater inside here, so it's nice and warm. So no need to worry. I've got some books in my hands because they're my comfort transitional object. And I also have a black coffee. The coffee is not very good today. I have it in my gothic cup. Which, do you hear that? The wind is delivering its weird messages today. One of which I wanted to talk about, speaking of messages, actually. Sometimes when I meet somebody who genuinely believes that the universe is neutral, and that there is no meaning in anything, and that, if you see symbols in the world, it's just your brain tricking you. I've met some people like this, and I look at them and I think, I have a million questions for you. One question is always like, you're telling me you've never seen a ghost? Or you never had anything weird happen to you? Are you kidding me? I really don't understand it, because I think the world is loud with meaning. It's the complete opposite of nothing. And anyway, I wanted to talk a little bit about content, about life versus life. And I view literature and books as like the opposite of content. These are two books I read recently, and they're going to help me make my point. But I watch a lot of content about the world and about us, and my God, it's very alarmist. It's very like, everything's very isolated. So ChatGPT, and like people might be having AI girlfriends. Oi. But an AI girlfriend, because there's like anime girlfriends. We know this. There's all kinds of girlfriends. There's YouTube ASMR, roleplay girlfriends. There's all kinds of digital girlfriends. And there's kind of a rich history of the digital girlfriend. And I guess now the digital boyfriend. You can have a digital poly, wherever you want. You can do anything, I guess. I find sometimes the content about these things utterly pales in comparison to how they actually manifest. In the case of alarmism, like people being alarmed maybe at ChatGPT psychosis, or people becoming deluded using these chatbots. In that case, there's something about that doesn't match when I go out in the world. Isn't that interesting? Because how would you know that somebody has an AI girlfriend unless they tell you? You don't know. When I go out in the world, I am faced with a kind of veil, and then when I talk to people, that's when you really realize that they're freaks. And sometimes content creates this macro view of freakishness that's really scary. But then if you meet someone who's a freak, which, congratulations, you definitely have, we all are, it humanizes it a little bit, if this makes sense. So instead of looking at content So some YouTube personality making an essay video about ChatGPT psychosis. I'd much rather want to like listen to the tale of the person who got sucked into an AI relationship. Hence, books, the world of books, is where a lot of those tales are recorded and where they live. You would think it would be YouTube, and sometimes it is, but YouTube more often than not focuses on, or platforms, the kind of second, third, fourth, fifth hand alarmist, just rehashing of how effed we all are as a species. Whatever. I don't care about that because I don't believe in that. I believe in the person who has an AI girlfriend. Like, my faith is in that person because the person who has an AI girlfriend has archetypally existed in many, many lives beforehand. You know what I mean? Like, I always said this. We've been freaks. So I don't care about the doomer take that, like, how horrible everything is. Yeah, it's been that way. I would want to take, like, these kind of YouTube personalities and pick them up and just, like, drop them in a village at any point in history, any single point, and say, vlog about that, baby. The Black Plague, vlog about that. So, what I'm trying to say is that content often gives me maybe like a meta-narrative about humanity that I think, what does that have to do with anything? What do you mean? It's just a waste of time. Like, it is what it is. We have some people in the world who are now deluded by ChatGPT. Great. Let's talk about it, and let's learn, let's listen. I don't think we need to do the extra layer of, like, losing the head because somehow that's supposed to be very alarming. Is like, y'all, the point is that books offer a more human, to me, more real, like, fiction offers what is more real about the world and about people's behavior. And if you are deluded into thinking that ChatGPT is showing you the secrets of the universe, you might also be going to a Pizza Hut. You might also have a 9-to-5 job. What does that look like? Maybe wife and kids. Who knows? So all of that embodiedness of the thing that is the source of the YouTuber's alarm is quite fascinating. Good journalism might capture that. A good documentary, a good filmmaker, a good nonfiction book, a memoir. I love that. But also fiction can capture a spirit of living that is absurd and ridiculous. But it is what it is, and it is what it is. These two books don't have anything to do with ChatGPT, but they are just kind of short and wonderfully complicated and fascinating and make you think, OMG, what? Eurotrash. This is Eurotrash by Christian Crashed. I don't know. But it's about a mom and a son who travel around rinky-dink style, not really knowing where they're going, but, you know, she's kind of losing it. He wants to spend some time with her because she's nearing the end of her life. And they're not really good people. They're not bad people. They're just weird, really weird. And they have a complicated history, and they're trying to give their money away because they have some wealth that came from some unethical investments and unethical history. But they're not very virtuous people either. At first, I didn't like this book, and then I stuck with it, and then I liked it, and I even cried a little bit at the end when he says goodbye to his mom, because that will always make you cry. It's semi-autobiographical, so it's fiction, but it's based on him. His name is Christian in the book. It is him. It's his relationship with his mom. Half fiction, half not. And I think that's maybe a fantastic way to capture the truth about the way that we live our lives, which is half fiction and half non-fiction, and the way that we just make up BS. I think the YouTubers whose careers are built on alarmist video essays about our attention, social media, phones, technology, all of those people, that is a half fiction. They're living in that hybrid world. We're posting videos on the internet, living in this hybrid world where attention needs to be, these stories have to be turned over and over and over. And every news story, every event in this life fractals out and ripples out, almost like a fire, where a phenomena on Earth occurs, and then it's just content, the fire of content, the fire of emotion and alarm getting bigger and bigger and bigger, distorting the interpretations and the potential complexities of the original phenomena. So I think largely we live in fiction. We live in story and we live in emotion. And it's sometimes disguised as factual or analysis, or it's a essay video, so it's somehow objective. It's not. It's a fire that comes from a spark, and it's just taken off. Another book that I read is Hunchback. Look at this beautiful book. I love this cover. This is Hunchback by Sayo Ichikawa. I don't know how to pronounce her first name. I haven't watched an interview yet. S-A-O-U. This book, whoa, it's very short. I read this in like an afternoon, and it's very graphic. It's about a woman with disabilities. She is in a living facility, and she enters into a strange, erotic, complicated situation with one of her carers, and that was born through her posting of erotica and subversive things. She's tweeting subversive things on the internet. Wow, this book is very literary and at times incredibly profound. It rocked my world. This rocked my world, and it is like a beautiful little storm. It's just this incredible piece of art, I think, and that I've never read anything like it. I doubt I will again, because you can tell when something is born from somebody and it's purely theirs. It's like you can't replicate this ever. This is her book. This is it. Both of these were just very short reads, and they really expanded my mind a little bit. They challenged me a little bit, and in their structure I was really exposed to something new, and I felt like when I left these books that I had really entered a world that I didn't know anything about, and I came out of it with a sensation that I had been on a real journey, and that is so exciting. I feel, I really, really like people and how complex people are, and sometimes it doesn't fit in the kind of moralizing, flat, value structure of the internet that rewards like mimetic replication, the fire. And then in that fire, the fire just burns nuance. It burns it in moralism as a rule of moralizing. Don't do this. AI is bad. AI is bad. AI is good. Any moralizing that occurs in that digital space is very flat. But no human life is flat. Nobody's life is flat. Everybody is so insanely dimensional and rich and full of life. Full of life. Like everything you've ever lived through, what other people have lived through, all of history, freaking Mesozoic Earth, dinosaurs screaming into the sky. Everybody is full of universe and of life. I think the non-spiritual, flat, moralistic, alarmist internet kills me. I have a hard time. I don't go anywhere. I don't journey. If anything, I'm nailed so firmly to earth. I'm nailed into this current context. I'm like nailed into a scheme of identity, somebody's value structure, somebody's something. I feel so pinned to the mortal plane when I go out in the world and I touch grass, or I'm like across from another human being, and that person is telling me things that don't make any sense, but of course that's true. You know, people do all kinds of things. They will drink before a birthday party. They will cheat when they didn't mean to. They will do all kinds of things because humanity is nuts. I like humanity. I like books. And there's definitely room on YouTube, I think, because my favorite YouTube is like random people talking about their random lives, and that's my favorite. Yeah, there's definitely some incredible creators who make content about what we're in, but of course I'm talking about the I guess this style of content. How do I say this? It's just people who essentially make their living making video essays that make you feel bad about everything, but then tell you how you can focus and how you can learn and how you can, I don't know. And there's like a lot of that. There's a lot of stories about how effed we are and how hopeless everything is, and a lot of very moralistic content about self-care and scheduling and optimizing and fill in the blank. I'm being hyperbolic about content, but I really have been loving fiction lately and reading about how wacky it is to be a person. It's my favorite thing, and it's my favorite kind of YouTube. I think something that really bothers me about moralizing is that it's not anthropological. It has some lens, but it's not anthropological, and I'm much more interested in, okay, so like I say, ChatGPT psychosis. I'm interested a lot more in the anthropological understanding of how are people using AI. That interests me much more than talking about AI is bad, AI is, fill in the blank. It's got to be kind of grounded in the human. The wind is like coming through the window. You know when it gets so cold outside that the air is like coming in. I feel the heat of the room, and then I feel these little pockets of cold air coming in. But all of this is a messy way to say that I think the universe is so rich and other people are incredible, and I love learning about people, and sometimes content can never, ever, ever, ever capture the multiplicity of people and their lives and their issues. You know, I do think that the wind delivers dreams and thoughts and energies. I really believe in the non-rational. The fact that your body knows things, even if you can't prove it in your mind. And books are held up as tools for the rational man, the rational mind. I think sometimes it's the complete opposite, that reading fiction blows you wide open to the vastness of the world, and nothing makes rational sense, but that things like love, flourish in the irrational, and not knowing what's going on at any given moment. And the people are so wonderfully complex that how can you even begin to come up with like some system of meaning? Anyway, y'all, this is just to come on here and talk a little bit about books, that I love them, that they help me with my angst against some styles of content that I always on my homepage, talking about how awful the world is and how scary, but I think it's not. And real humanity can be found sometimes on YouTube, definitely, often in books, good documentaries, all over. So it's worth going to find that. It's worth going to find that and letting it break you open. I find that the more I read, I don't really have more rules about the world, or really even more understanding, just maybe more contentment and more joy about the world. So that's what I love about reading. It's not necessarily rational, but it is mental and emotional. It makes me happy. So I am going to go check on all the windows in the house. That's what I'm going to go do. And make sure none of those kids at the school are being blown down the street and end up on the roofs, because there's a bunch of rattling outside. So I'm gonna go check on the house. But I will be back with more videos. This is a very busy time of the year, but very soon I have a really long break, so I will be back with more videos. If there's anything you would like to see, please let me know. I would be happy to consider things, so please let me know. Okay, good night if you are going to sleep. And good